Welcome back to another great episode of Kyndra's Corner. This is a podcast that is dedicated to my random polling questions, along with interesting news of the week that actually is true. All right, and it's crazy because I'm like, bro, y'all got to hear this, right? Like, so I like to do a little balance. I like to have a healthy balance and stuff. We start off with some ignorance and then we get serious, right? The ignorance can be hilarious or whatever. But I'm just excited. And every week I come on here, I always make sure to have people who are going to bring the tomfoolery with me. But without further ado, let me go ahead and say my two random things I say, and then I'm gonna bring the cast on. A man is lame when he daps you up and he snaps his fingers right afterwards. Y'all need to stop doing that, okay? Just please. And look, the only P that a lot of you niggas are is pathetic. Without further ado, let me go ahead and bring my aunt from the islands, the Caribbean. She's always walking around with a crop top. She's got a nice six-pack. It's a great physique, and she's been in the gym and has lost 30 pounds, okay? Aunt D, how art thou?
Girl, I love that intro. Yes. I claim 30 pounds, six-pack. You know what? Let's make that an eight-pack. I love it.
I love it. Well, let me go ahead, man. My next person that I want to bring to the stage, a father of many, and he makes sure to show up for all 66 of his kids. The same number of books that there are in the Bible is how many kids he has. KLG. KLG, you're a little low. Your volume's low, brother. Your volume's low.
Can you hear me now?
Much better, much better. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, I love it. Well, like I said, Aunt D has not been here in a while and everything else like that, but whenever she does come, she always makes sure to come, with it all. So let me go ahead and get into our first interesting news of the week. So, KG, I'll start with you first. A British woman who married herself, and they need to stop doing this anyway. Like they listen. I don't know who was in charge of you. You like, oh yeah, who you want to marry? I'll marry myself. Like who's marrying y'all? Your friends? A British woman who married herself in 2015 later confessed that she cheated on herself by dating a man who decided to marry himself too. KG, what are your thoughts on that, brother?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
You think that's it was a cup? You think it was a cup? Okay, all right. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, that's all I got on that one because, like I said, that's the only other way I can explain that one. Cocaine. Mixed with angel dust.
And D, what are your thoughts on that?
I can say that she's probably on a mission to get attention. That kind of stuff people do, because I've seen stories like that. I've seen a woman who married like a life-size doll. I've seen people marry their iPhone. These people, they looking for attention. Yeah, looking for attention. And I refuse to give them any. I'm tired. I got better things to do. They thirsty.
Not last week's episode was a man, he married his rice cooker. Yeah. And then he divorced it 4 days later because all it did was cook rice. Yeah. I love those type of people. Yeah.
Crazy. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, Pineapple, hello. Real quick.
Hello.
You just came in with the interesting news of the week. So a British woman who married herself in 2015 later confessed that she cheated on herself by a man dating a man who then married himself too. So is that really cheating in a way?
Well, they both retarded, so that kind of just ends right there. Like they're marrying themselves and then cheating on themselves. You got to be a little slow in the brain.
Okay. Well, hey, if a lot of these people would act right, nobody would be marrying themselves. All right, let me come to you, back to you, Pineapple. So back in 2016, because you used to live in the state, a 70-year-old man had robbed a bank in Kansas and sat in the lobby waiting for the police to arrive, claiming he'd rather live in jail than with his wife. And he was arrested and he was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest. What are your What are your thoughts on that, Pineapple?
That judge is petty. That's about it. That judge petty as hell. Like, oh, you trying to escape home? Let me go ahead and put you confined to the house.
Is that something you would do? Remember we talked about being a judge. Was that something you would do as a judge?
No, no. If he went through that extreme to get away from his wife, I'm going to let him. Hey, bro, cool. We're gonna send you to the penitentiary because if you willing to risk going to jail for years and years on a federal crime to get away from her, your next step is to basically unalive her. So let's go on and keep you from doing that. And we're gonna put you in penitentiary for a while.
Until one of them dies, right? Um.
Yeah, he can get
Uh.
special parole when she croaks.
Aunt D, what is your thoughts on that?
Oh, I would send him straight to jail so he could get himself a good husband. How about that?
Whoa, whoa, wait a minute.
That's
Time
what I'm
out.
talking about. That's what I'm talking
You
about.
don't want your wife. You could be Bubba's husband. Cell block D.
I
Hello?
don't think he wants a husband. He just don't want his wife.
Well, honey, beggars can't be choosers. You robbed a bank. You want to go to jail. Clearly, you don't want a wife. You want a man.
I think at 70 years old, nobody's trying to clap them old cheeks in prison. He'd be somewhere chilling.
Man,
What did
please.
the
Yeah,
booty
you never
warrior
know.
said? Booty is more important than air. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not a real thing anymore.
It's very real.
Yeah,
It's
so
No.
it's a certain prisons it is. KLG, what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think pineapple and what's her name?
Aunt D.
Miss D said it all for me. I mean, shoot, I can't really elaborate on that one. It's just sickening.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what could have been like his final strike with this woman, right? It's like so many other questions I gotta know. Like, how long did they, been married? At what point was he like, bro, I'm gonna try to do whatever I can to try to get, like, it has to be something bad. Like, a lot of people, as you think about it, a lot of these folks who end up in these marriages, they start off good and then they just end up divorced a few years later.
So I had a guy, he served a lot of time in the military. He walked into an MP station and he asked to speak with the detective and asked him about what? He said, oh, I killed my wife. And they was looking at him like, what the hell? And he was just real peaceful and quiet. And they were like, all right, go take a seat over there. Somebody come out and talk to you. And he went and took a seat, all quaint and quiet, and he waited for the detective to come out. He was booked, he was charged, he was tried, he was sent to prison for a quarter of a century. But he was at peace. I don't know his story as far as what she did to him to push him to that point, but he had had enough of her shit and he did her in. And he was completely at peace with life. One of the nicest men I ever met in my life.
I'm
So
sure.
it begs the question, like, what was the final straw? What made you crash out like that? Because such a nice guy.
Yeah, well, I believe I heard a story like that as well. So, Andy, I want to come to you first. So, speaking of, kind of segues into our first question of the night. So, do you believe emotional cheating is worse than physical cheating, or do you believe that physical cheating is worse than emotional cheating?
That's a trick question.
Yeah, it is a bit of a trick question. So the thing is that there are different levels of cheating or stepping out on your marriage, right? And really, whenever you decide to create an emotional bond, and that doesn't even have to be with a person. You could be a workaholic and take care of your job more than you take care of your family. You could take care of your boys in the street more than you take care of your girl at home. An emotional attachment to anything is where you put your energy, and your energy is what's important, right? And marriages take work. Marriages take it's a lot. Anybody in a long-term marriage, a long-term relationship can tell you that. So if you step out emotionally, the next step is just physical. Like,
Physical, yeah.
it's like you're opening, it's the gateway drug, right? So what are you looking for? Is the question, what are you running from? So those are the big issues, and they're both bad. Of course, an emotional attachment, You can stop it before it does get physical, and no harm, no foul. But I promise you, it's something bigger. That's the issue. So address that. You know, that's my 10 cents.
Now, when you say you can stop it before it gets physical, how likely percentage wise can a person really stop that? Especially, whether, like I say, marriage, relationship, whatever it might whatever you have going on, lifetime partner. In what way can you really, would you say you can, stop that, especially when the person is really all in?
That depends on the individual, right? You have to decide what you want out of this situation, right? So if I decide, for example, a lot of people have these things called work husbands, work wives, or whatever, right? And you can get into have an emotional attachment to somebody at your job, right? And then next thing you know, it becomes more and more and more. But you as an individual have to draw that line. You know when to stop. And everybody has to take accountability. There's no such thing as, oh, this person made me. No, you did that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about accountability. Like, what are you afraid of losing your spouse? Are you afraid of losing your partner? Are you afraid of losing your marriage? These things are based off of the individual themselves. And of course, you can stop. You can do whatever you want. It's free will. I don't believe in this, I didn't have a choice. You absolutely had a choice. And you chose that option. So, like I told my ex husband, I hope she was worth it.
Right, not because as soon as he realized, he came back. Let me go past it to KLG real quick, and I'm gonna come back to you, Aunt D, soon.
I
But
have a different problem. And that problem is, I'm sorry, y'all listening to a little music too.
yeah, I was gonna come to you. I was gonna come to you.
It kind of comes a little within with what we talking about or whatnot. And like just like the song we listen to, "Hanging on Strings" by Loose Ends. Or if y'all know what it is, y'all know.
Boy.
And stuff. But I have a different problem. And my problem is I have thoughts of me, my wife, and somebody else. That's what I tend to think about a lot of times, because, you know, I'd rather for her to know and see it going on so that way it'll be no doubt, but she can join in if she want to. What you want, Kyndra?
So my question is, do you not feel like that's not a respect thing towards your wife if you are actually actively telling her, hey, I think about you, I love you, but my penis loves Sarah down the street?
Not necessarily, no. What it
Would
is,
you
I
would you
think,
be okay if she did the same thing to you? Like, hey, I love you, but my vagina belongs to 3 other guys. I'm just really into and wanting to do X, Y, and Z. I dream about them.
first of all, I ain't got to worry about that. Second of all, if that were to come to a fact or whatnot, I tell her, go ahead. I just been not nobody. That's all.
Okay.
And if I do, then we're gonna add another entity to the group. His name is Smith and Wesson.
Okay. So hold on. Wait. Hold up. Pause. You're okay. You said, hold on. You just said that it's not going to happen. How would you say that? Is it because she's not going to actively, boldly say, hey, I am interested, sexually in this other person, just like you're interested sexually in this other woman?
No, she's not gonna say that.
Maybe, how do
Uh,
you not know it could be out of respect? Because everybody, hold on. Let me ask this question real quick. Pineapple, let me come to you real quick, and I'm going to come back to you, KLG.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you something right quick here now, okay? You right. This can happen. It's like anybody can have a change of heart or a change of mind or whatnot and stuff and decide that they really want to do that. That's true and everything like that. But it's this thing called foot to ass method with me.
Hmm.
You see, if you don't want a foot to your ass, you might want to stay in place of your ass. Because if you don't,
Oh, ouch.
then bullets will graze your ass. Now that's poetry. That's poetry.
Okay, so Pineapple, let me ask you this question. I'm going to come back to the KLG. Pineapple, let me ask you this question, okay?
Yeah.
The time you were married for your time period, was there not a time where you thought of another woman you thought of her in a different, in a sexual way? And if you did you ever have that conversation and tell your wife? Or out of respect, you never said nothing?
Well, to answer the first question, yes, every 7 seconds. But how do you even address this? An emotions is a feeling. You can't control how you feel about something.
Exactly.
You cannot control how you feel about something. Like, you didn't just wake up today and decided, hey, blue is my favorite color. It's something about that color that draws your eyes, releases dopamine into your blood, all that scientific shit. Um, what you can help is what you do about that feeling. Now, I don't think there's a married man or woman alive that can say they had only eyes for their spouse 100% of the time.
And that's what I was trying to get at with KLG, but he said, "Oh, that's not gonna happen." I'm like, "But how do you know you're not in her brain all day long? You don't know what she thinks or who she looks at."
So,
Look at here.
so
We have a respectable marriage, okay? If that were, if
yeah,
she were to say that or whatnot of stuff, I would have to respect her wishes and going about my business. This is real talk. I have to respect that. Yeah, it's gonna hurt, but guess what though? More ass be around the block. So therefore, hey, it is what it is.
Hope you got a good pickup line. But go ahead,
I,
Pineapple.
Hey,
like I said, I was married, almost 11 years, and not once did I ever lie to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to ask some of the toughest goddamn questions imaginable. And I would tell her, don't ask for something you can't handle once you get it.
exactly.
So if you're gonna come out of the blue, right in the middle of me watching a football game, and you're gonna ask me a crazy question, first I'm gonna be like, okay, where the hell did that come from? But then I'm gonna give you an honest answer. And I told her, I said, do I think about it? Yes. I'm that's just it's instilled in me. I'm my daddy's child. We like what we like. We like it varieties. We like it tall. We like it short. We like it fat. We like it slim. We like it all over the place. The two reasons why I did not cheat on my wife is one, if I started, I was never going to be able to stop. And two, I was not mentally equipped to handle if she did the same thing. It had nothing to do with my love and commitment to her because I loved her unconditionally. She was but at the same time, though, you drink Hennessy. Sometimes you want a shot of Jack Daniels every now and then or some shit. Ain't mean you're cheating on your Hennessy. It just means that you want a shot of Jack Daniels. And yes, I've literally found myself in some pretty damn sticky situations where I had to make a conscious decision of do the right or do the wrong. And
Are you okay with sharing one that you remember in the past?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Female that I was cool with or whatnot. I didn't really know how she felt about things. Put myself in a compromising position by being at her house too late. But again, me being the guy that I am, I can have female friends and not cross that line. But she had other thoughts in her head, and she wanted to cross that line, and I found myself in a compromising position to where I almost crossed that line. And I literally had to get up and go home because I thought about my wife. I'm like, no, I said, I can't do this. I cannot do this shit. Like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I came really close to saying fuck it and just rolling the dice. And when I tell you, my big head and my little head was at war with each other the whole ride home. Boy, Lil dude was really pissed off that I did not take that opportunity. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going home harder than Chinese arithmetic, mad as a motherfucker. But I'm going home with my self-respect, and I'm gonna walk in my house not having to hide a secret of what I just done.
But don't it be bad though when you do that and you walk away like a man and you go home to your wife and the first
Ain't
thing she
got
say,
not one thing that night. I ain't got shit. I ain't
and
get shit that night.
but it's also worse when you come home and you be like, hey honey, where the hell your ass was at? God damn it, I was sitting up here waiting on you and all this other stuff. You said you gonna bring this home, you didn't bring that home and all this other stuff. You like, I should have damn cheated. And then
um. So let me, Pineapple. I want to ask you, that woman. Did you stop being friends with her? after that? Like, did you whatever happened with that whole ordeal? Okay, I think he must have lost connection or so. Um, why he
What
why
you want?
he why he
What you
gets it?
want? Cause you want to come back over here with that crazy, crazy. No, what you want?
No,
Bring it back
well, no, I'm not gonna do that. While he gets himself together, let me go ahead and answer this question. I believe that honestly, for me, emotional cheating to me is worse than physical cheating. You know, especially like I said, let's take from a man's perspective. A man can go and smash a woman, a random woman, because it's Tuesday, not have no feelings about it, and then go on
Because
about
it's
his
for
day.
ego for a man. It's for ego with a man. There's no emotional ties. It's
Yeah,
just ego. The only thing with a female is emotional. So actually, a woman is worse because if y'all cheat on man, it's gonna be emotional.
yeah, no, of course, of course. Oh, well, pineapple came back. Welcome back. So,
I don't know what
pineapple.
the hell happened there, but yeah, I
Well,
don't know what
you
happened.
need to pay your bill, pineapple. Okay, quit using your friend's Wi-Fi. Okay, pay a real bill. So pineapple. So here's a question I want to ask you: the woman whose house you went to, all that, did you cut ties with her immediately after that because you realized that she had other motives?
Mm-mm. We're still friends to this day,
Hmm.
and that happened about about 11 years ago, 11, 12 years ago.
What made you still decide to stay friends with her, knowing that she wanted to be a homewrecker?
It's not that she wanted to be a homewrecker; it's that she saw something that she wanted, and her emotions and her feelings took over her better judgment. She
Mm-hmm.
apologized for what she did. We haven't really had an issue with that since I gave her the pep talk, like, hey, got it, cool, whatnot. I felt like you felt that night. Kind of wanted to go to distance, but we can't do that. That's not us. It can't be us. And she respected that. I respected that, and we went on about our way. Everything's cool now. Now that I'm divorced, I don't like go back and rekindle old flames that
Okay,
I
that was
miss
gonna be
or
my next
whatnot.
question.
No, no,
Okay.
no, because mentally I'm in a whole different state of mind when it comes to that, and I'd rather us just stay friends because we crossed that line and I clapped them cheeks. We are not gonna be friends much longer.
Typically how it is. Well, let me, like I said, kind of go on with this. I'm gonna wrap up and then go to question two. I want, like I say, for me, emotional cheating. Like if anybody gets involved with the emotional cheating, and I've met some women, and I'm gonna tell you the worst advice a woman's ever given me. And Aunt D, you let me know if you agree or not. So, well, actually, Aunt D, let me ask you this question: have you ever had a man? Sorry, not a man. Women tell you, hey, you're gonna come across a man and or you just gonna call a man up, just let him smash, and that's gonna be about it. He'll just be your stress reliever. Have you ever had women tell you like that type of advice? More so to or did you believe that was a thing, like, or that was your reality at some point?
Um, so I'm gonna answer based off of just
Gosh,
my
damn it.
personal experience and then the type of woman I am. Okay. Um, Now, as far as sex, when it comes to relationships and things like that, um, I'm much more careful as I get older
Mm-hmm.
who I have sex with and why. Um, a lot of people say that sex is just physical, which there is a part of it that is just physical. And can I be that person? Yeah. Do I want to be that person? No, I don't want to. I don't want to give you something that I feel, um, I have to detach myself from. Plus, to me, where's the fun in that? There's to me, I understand for men, there is that aspect of okay, and a release. It's more like itching a scratch. For me, it's different. Okay,
Yeah.
so um, and there are women who can detach themselves. That's fine, and to each their own. But I personally choose not to. Um, so have I done it? Yeah, especially when I was a lot younger. But it didn't feel good. Something felt wrong, and I started to believe myself, right? And then all I just there to me, I there are a lot of people draw like they want to bring morality into it, and where's your moral compass, and then if you're very religious, then there's that aspect to it. For me, regardless of whatever the world tells me, whoever is around me, I trust myself. So the older I get, the more I realize it is my decision. How do I feel? What's in my heart? How does my body feel this man? That's it and that's all. I don't go by no other rule other than that. So if
I
Right.
think
I
that's
feel
beautiful.
like I'm sorry?
I think that's beautiful. Or if
Oh,
only a
thank you.
man could think like that.
Well, he can. So he
Actually,
can. He can, and it's called discipline. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
I
right.
It's
do.
a discipline to that, and you can be pressured into having sex with you there's that the social pressure for men to be this type of man, to be a playboy, to get all these girls and this and that. So I understand, right? But you yourself are in the driver's seat. You run the show. The
Mm-hmm.
moment you give your power up to anything, anyone outside yourself, you've lost. So the
Mm-hmm.
more I've gotten older, the more that is my North Star. That's it. That's all.
Hey, and that's some
Man,
real shit
that's
right
listen,
there.
the queen has
Because
spoken.
it took me years to get to that level, and she's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at that level for a while where just casual sports fucking is just not my thing anymore because it's more powerful than just the release. You know, at one point in life, yeah, that's exactly what it was. But I'm at that mindset now. What is going to come of this? Where is this going to go? Is this going to manifest into something that a place where I need to be? Probably not. Nothing good can come from this. So why even do it? And it's like at one point in time, it was like a drug to me. I needed it. Like we chased skirts for years and years and years, and now I'm looking for something completely outside the box, like peace. Somebody I can just hang out with, laugh, talk, trash with, this, that, and the third, have a good time with, and feel good about being around. And if I can't get all of that with the same person, then we ain't got really shit to talk about, especially in the sex department. Because all it's gonna do is complicate things.
And and that's why I was kind of pretty much leaning into as wrapping up with this first question is that when it like the worst advice I've ever had women say to me was, and one of them was a church going like real church person type of person, and then the other one was just she's just complete opposite, right? The other person would say um, that she gets off having random sex, and I was surprised, right? Because I thought for women it takes a lot more. Like we have to really have a connection with y'all to do that. But she
That's
was,
when what your
but
friend
she's
is a
she's a
whore.
woman though. But she's a
She a
woman.
whore. She a whore. That what she is. That what she is. There's a big fucking difference. She's a whore. If a woman can do that, just indiscriminately just throw that ass in a circle for every guy that she sees, that's some horse behavior. She's not supposed to be built like that. That is going against the natural order of what she's supposed to do.
But you know what she has told me? She said if I was, and then she once had said, some years ago, she says if I was to let everybody who wants to hit let me let them hit or whatever, then I would be sitting here having sex with all these random people out. So she picks and chooses who she wants to be a whore with. Everybody doesn't get the opportunity. But I say all that to say, very selective, selective whore, I guess. So I say all that to say for
You're a
both of
whore
these
nonetheless.
for both of these women to tell me that there's going to be a time in your life, and I think it was probably some other, but they said it's going to be a time in your life where you're going to sit here, you're going to meet a man, and he's just going to be just good for just that. You're going to say thank you. After that, it's over. And I'm like, what? No, I don't. What? No, no, no. I'm cool, right? So, that's all I gotta say about that. Let me go to question number 2. KLG, let me come to you. Well, yeah, mine's like I said, I believe emotional cheating is worse than physical cheating. So number 2, KG, what was something that you thought you wanted or desired, and then when reality kicked in, you just realized you really didn't want that nor desire it either? What would you say, KLG?
Okay, I'm trying to keep it professional here.
No, go ahead. Keep it raw.
I mean, I think we all heard the stories about me and certain females that I wanted and stuff like that. There. And then when I got it, I mean, I'm sure everybody has, every man probably had that story. You know, did what you had to do and stuff like that. You hoped and wished upon a star that this female would finally look your way. And when she did, and everything was great at first, until you find out that she have more kids than she said she got.
Mm.
Until you find out that she's actually broke. And she was just flexing on the gram and making herself look like she had all these things and all these controls and stuff. But when you go to her house, you got four corners of a roach sitting in the corner, having a meeting, discussing who they're going to attack, the next person that come through the door. And then next thing you know, the ex-boyfriend come through the door with a gun pointed dead at you, looking at you all crazy like, who the fuck are you? And then next thing you know, you don't know what else to do. Next thing you know, she comes out with a lie talking about something, this is my cousin. I'm like, I'm who? And hold on, y'all. I think I flashback. Hold on.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Okay.
Oh, big fella.
Okay.
What was this 20 years ago, KG?
Oh, Lord. No, the last name. Okay. Okay.
So that woman, breathe, KG, breathe.
Thank you.
That woman, did she ever find you on Facebook and say, "I'm so sorry, I really love you. Let's be together"?
Actuality, y'all, this was like 15 years ago. This back in 09. But you know the thing, oh Lord. The ending to the story was I had to go along with what she was saying. I was like, yeah, I don't remember you having no cousin. I was like, everybody got cousin fool. He from Detroit. I'm like, I am. He was like, oh, what up, though? I'm like, yeah, awesome. I was like, yeah, assalamu alaikum. He like, oh, you one of them? I'm like, one of what? I like, hey man, look, I think your mother just called me. I was supposed to pick up some eggs from her house or whatnot. I might go get them. She was like, yeah, go get them. I like, all right then. He like, nice to meet you, bro. I like you too. So the answer to your question is, have I ever wanted something when I got it? It was like, shoot, I have so many stories about that right there. I mean, shoot, a tourist, a train, electric train set, a race car track, the flu. I mean, shit. I mean, it goes on and on.
The list goes on. That woman, I want to ask you before I go to Aunt D with the next one, as the next person. That woman who you was really you liked and she did all that. When did all of that come to like? Okay, you meet her, and then what was the time period for meeting her until the guy and all of that mess shows up, realizing that her whole life was just capped?
24 hours.
Damn.
Within 24 hours? Well, that's quick. Okay. Aunt D, your turn. What was something that
Cocaine is hell of a drug.
It is. Aunt D, what was something that that you had, thought you wanted? You thought that you wanted, really, really thought, and you when that reality kicked in, you said, yeah, this is what was I thinking? What was that thing for you, Aunt D?
So I'm gonna preface by saying I'm driving, guys. So if I cut out or if you hear some noises in the background, just know that I'm in the car. So I think one of the things that I have come to terms with, that I realized that it isn't so much that I didn't want it. It's just a matter of coming to a better perspective of it and having a different viewpoint, and that is marriage. So when I was younger, like, I come from a very, very traditional family. In the Bahamas, like, we are extremely traditional. I always tell people my dad is a great F&M, and my mother is an excellent Anglican. Like, only Bahamians could get that joke. Like, just as prim and proper as it comes. And so, I understand what society does, right? It conditions you, okay? And all my whole life, from my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, my brothers, my sisters, everybody married. Everybody got a ring. And I was a good girl, did everything correct. And when I got to my 30s, I realized like, oh, where's my man? Where's my husband? Where's my marriage? Da, 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 da. And the pressure was so intense from society just to walk down the aisle. I listen. I found the wrong person. I admit it. I take accountability for that. Okay. And tried to mold him into something. And then once I got out of that, thank God, I started to realize. I said, this isn't about the ring. This is something that society is telling me I should want. But really, what I really want isn't what traditional marriage is going to give me. I had to be honest with myself. Now, do I want a companion? Yes. Do I want a lover? Yes. But I'm not in the traditional mindset that I used to be in. Marriage is a contract, by the way. Whether it's religious, whether it's law, it's a contract. And once you step into that contract, this is what you signed on for. I don't want to hear no crying. None. Because I think my parents gone through it all. They buried children. They went through poverty. They raised children that wasn't even there biologically. My parents went through it all. They are the quintessential ride or die. Okay? And if it ain't that, it ain't nothing. So when you look at modern society and what people are expecting from marriage, child, that ain't it. We ain't cut out for it. We're not cut from that cloth anymore. And you have to come to that conclusion. I'm not my parents. I'm not even in my parents' generation. They're not even boomers, by the way. My parents are from the silent generation. You know how old you got to be the silent generation? You got to be in your 80s, going on 90. Okay? And they're from a different world. Moving to America 15 years ago, I was like a fish out of water. Completely different society, completely different mindset. And I realized, I said, if I'm going to do what my parents did, I'm going to have to find that type of mentality. You have to be prepared for it. You have to be trained for it. You have to be ready for it. And the truth is, most people are not ready for what marriage comes with. They want the ring. They want the dress. They want the rah-rah and the roo-roo. They like how it sounds. My ex-husband used to love to say, my wife, my wife, my wife. Right? But he couldn't be my husband, my husband, my husband, because you wasn't doing what husbands do. Okay? So I've come to terms and if I ever find that type of person, 100% I'll walk down the aisle. But if I can't find it, I'm not pushing it either. I'm not dragging nobody across that finish line. I'm beating you over your head. If you want to go to door, swing both ways. But here's my expectation, okay? And we're going to be honest about that. You're going to tell me exactly what you are and who you are and what you want. And I'm going to do the same thing, all right? And we're going to build this foundation, and then we're going to build this house, and then we're going to keep it pushing. But if that's not the case, I'm not pushing the agenda either. And I think that's what I had to realize. I had to accept what it is I can control and what I can't. And I can't control other people. So marriage is one of the things I had to be like, you know what, it might not work. It might not happen for me a second time. Or it might, who knows? But that's my answer.
I love it. Thank you, Auntie. Pineapple, go ahead.
Oh, you got to repeat that question, sweetheart.
So basically, the question is, what was something that you thought you wanted or desired, and then in reality kicked in, you realized that you didn't want that nor desire it anymore?
This assignment right here. This damn assignment right here. I've been wanting this assignment for like the last 10 years.
Are you talking your current job?
My current duty station, current assignment here is what I'm doing right now. I wanted to come back to this state a long time ago, and I finally got my wish just to realize this shit trash.
Pineapple, when you said this assignment, I thought you were talking about the Kyndra's Corner. I'm like, oh shoot, tell me how you really feel.
No.
I said,
No.
oh, okay. You're being
No,
honest, right? You said, hey, you told your wife, don't ask me a question or I won't be honest.
no. Getting this assignment, coming back to South Carolina, coming to Charleston. I said I wanted to come back here like 10 years ago to this assignment, and it finally came. Especially towards the end of my career. But yeah, this place is not. It's not it. I didn't realize how underappreciated Kansas was until I'm not there anymore. This place is hot as hell. The traffic is terrible. They got roaches everywhere around here. People can't drive. It's it's ass.
It'll cool down, but Kansas is freezing. That's why I came to visit you when it was somewhat warm.
I can deal
Um,
with the cold. I can't deal with the heat.
that's why we can't be best friends. Well, let me go ahead and give my answer. Aunt D gave a really, really great point. So I'm not going to take too long, but I would say I wanted what I wanted desire wise was to be a football wife, a basketball wife, somebody in something in that manner. Um, it seemed like it was glamorous, right? However, I can't be with a man because one of my love I have two. They're kind of tied: physical touch and quality time. It just depends on the day. I can't be with someone who is not coming home every day. Now I know KLG. I know you were doing like the over the road truck driving at one point. When we first met, you told me you was a truck driver. I thought for the longest every truck driver it was never no such thing as a day to day. I thought what's that called, a commercial truck driver if I'm not mistaken, or is that a
Over the road.
yeah. So over the road truck driver. I thought everybody. If you say you was a truck driver, I thought that just meant you was over the road. You go and then you come back a week or two later, right? I didn't know how that really worked. But for me, wanting to be, the basketball wife, wanting to have the glamour, all that type of stuff, until coming across women who were like, yeah, I was that, and I had the world, but I didn't have respect. Because think about it like this, right? And I'm not saying like people cheat anyway, but it's a different type of level of cheating, knowing that your spouse, like, or if you're married to the CEO of the company, right? You know what they're doing. But I'm not trying to just sit here and like say face like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. It's still about my respect. I think, what Aunt D was talking about with marriage, not everybody's meant to be married. Honestly, a lot of people sit here and try to rush some type of calling that God never called them on in the first place. It's to me, it's one of those things where you have to know really what a wife, the duties of a wife and a husband is. And for me, when it came to marriage, I wanted to, and I still do want to get married. I do still do desire marriage, but I have not placed it at the forefront of my mind. Because when I first met Aunt D, KLG, all y'all on the podcast, and people who know me know that was like, oh, I just want to be married. I just want to be married. X, Y, and Z. But my sole purpose of marriage at that time was so I can be put through a mattress, right? To the point I'm talking. Yeah, I'm being. Don't look at me like that. Oh, why not? You didn't know that part. But I wanted. Look, I would sit here and make Facebook posts about, oh man, I can't wait to have my spine broke, all this type of stuff. I told my mama one day, I said this years ago, I said, Mom, oh my gosh, I want to have 12 kids, one child for every month of the year. And she said to me, she's like, Kyndra, is that all you want to be in life is on your back? And I looked at her, I'm like, are you mad because that's all you were in your life? So I say all that to say,
if I were your mother,
Boy,
you would be on your back after that.
you definitely be on your damn back. All your
Being
knees
lowered,
crawling away somewhere. You lucky you ain't
lowered,
get backhand.
you would be lowered into the
but,
grave.
But Kendra, you ain't got to be married to get all that. You can still be on your back and get
Yep,
cracked without being married.
that's true.
well, the reason I wanted to be married was because I was going off of like Anthony was saying, people get married, it could be a religious thing and all that type of stuff. So I was trying to do the right way via the Bible. But I say all that to say, for me, still, like I said, still wanted to have that desire of marriage, but also knowing the real roles and what comes with that. because you have a lot of folks who get married and then they, like I said, the divorce rate, like they just get married just to get divorced. Like with the one of the interesting news of the week that I read about earlier about that man who was in his 70s and he's like, bro, I want to get away from my wife. It's a lot of unhappy people. I want to say, I think another thing I wanted, I think that was it. Or some boys, of course. It was some guys. Oh yeah, I wanted to be everybody's friend. I thought having everybody in the world, like 6 billion, 7 billion people on this earth, I thought if everybody was my friend, then that meant that my life would be grand. It would be gold. And honestly, no. As you get older, I understand why you have people who have 3 or 4 friends. When you're young, like elementary, middle school, high school, that's the thing. That's what that is. Everybody's your best friend. You're always at sleepovers. But as you get older, there's nothing wrong with having 2 or 3 friends, or even going a few days or even a week without talking to people. Let your phone be on do not disturb. That's beautiful. Not answering that. But yeah, like I said, now let's say an NFL player, somebody sports player, maybe a rapper comes up and says, hey, I want to go on a date with you. I mean, it depends on what mood I'm in. I might be like, okay. And then after that, that'll be it. But I don't know. So like I said, my answer is just pretty much that, wanting to be a basketball wife so bad. And it didn't help that I watched that TV show, Basketball Wives. I had no business watching that,
So I got a question.
Go ahead.
Why an athlete or an entertainer? Why not a regular 9 to 5 guy? Is it because of the glamour and glitter and stuff like that you see these people possess on these shows, these baller wives and stuff?
That's it.
And a lot of people see them, they see these mansions and shit they're living in, the nice cars, the $400 wigs and whatnot. But I think people forgetting the underlining thing with every one of them are miserable as hell. They're catty. Their lives is filled with drama and
Everyone?
bullshit. Just about every one of them. Just like every one of
Well,
those reality shows.
Andy just went off on mute. Go ahead, Andy. Andy?
I didn't mean to. Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say that, Kyndra, there's a quote from Kanye West. He said, "You'll see the most beautiful people do the ugliest things."
Mm-hmm.
I used to date an NFL player, and it was probably the worst experience of my life. Just because the way that he has been groomed by that institution, it's not healthy. They do not think like regular people. They have a God complex, like none other. You think you've dated some egotistical people? No, you haven't. These types of people feel like they are God themselves. That's dangerous. And women genuflect to them, by the way. They get everything they want. You would have to date someone who is so secure in themselves that they don't buy into that type of mentality. And it is hard. Fame and money could ruin the best of people. I wouldn't even talk about the worst of people. So be careful about titles. Be careful about what's on the outside. At my age now, and I just turned 43,
Woo-hoo!
I would say, I value people and character 10 times more. And you could find that lifestyle outside of him. Kyndra, you could be the famous person. You could be everything that you want. See, what you don't realize at your age is that you're searching for something and you want someone else to fill that part of yourself. You're searching for a man or even a friend or a community to give you what you really need to be giving yourself. But you don't know that just yet. So it's going to take some time. But you'll get there. So you could be the famous person. Your podcast could blow up, and all of a sudden, now you got dudes outside your door. Hey, Kyndra, ooh, I love your dress. You know what I mean? Now you got to be the person.
They doing
You
it.
got
They
to be
doing
the
it
person
now.
with the character. Yes, you got to be the person who understands, like what's important in life. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Andy,
Yeah,
before you go back on mute, I got a real quick question I
sure.
want to ask you.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, if a NFL player, NBA, whoever, baseball player comes to me and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But again, it's like I don't really care about that because you're right. They're 9 times out of 10 they're groomed, especially those top players. How did you even come across? Because I guess people kept saying, well, Kyndra, if you want to go meet these people, you gotta go hang out at the hotels where they be at, or you gotta sit here, you gotta put your dress up or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do all that. So how did you come across this real quickly, this individual, and then you guys exchanged numbers for him to remember to call you and to remember to still talk to you? Because I mean, they got 10,000 women on their mind. What made them choose you or so to talk with and stuff?
Well, to be honest, he's an ex-NFL player, and they're out there, trust me. And we actually met online, so that was how I met him. I didn't even know anything about that. He didn't really broadcast that. So when I actually met him, and he started talking, and mind you, I didn't even watch football, so I couldn't even tell you nothing about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, I was actually more enamored with his personality, and he's very attractive, man.
Mm-hmm.
And very, all the charisma, all of that. They have that. They learn how to be in front of a camera. They learn how to be in front of people much better than the average human. I want you to know. So all of that could be a disguise. And he's been out of the league for about 6-7 years. Their careers don't actually last that long, by the way.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he was fighting with is the loss of that God complex, to be honest with you. Once they leave that industry, once they leave that lifestyle, they have a hard time becoming a human, a regular person. After the fame, after the people start remembering your name, after everything, listen, there's nothing worse than a God complex than somebody crashing from heaven. The last time an angel crashed from heaven, his name became what? Beelzebub, devil, Lucifer.
You know your word. You know your word.
I'm telling you. So, and I'm not saying all of them are this way. Do not get me wrong. I'm sure, you could be, win the lottery and find the right one with the right mentality and all of that. All I'm saying is don't get caught up with the illusion on the outside, which is easy to do, especially when you're a young girl. But I learned that lesson the very hard way. He was fighting not just that emotional, egotistical demon. When the money dries up, oh my God. Talk about hurt. Wow, they're left with nothing. They're left with nothing. They have to grapple with so much more. It's almost like they're stunted emotionally. Because their whole life, they're groomed. They get to walk out of jail free. From teachers to family to people, they give them a pass in life. All of a sudden, no pass. All of a sudden, you got to be a human, just like the rest of us, walking the earth. Child, listen, that right there was Satan. I want you to know. I was like, oh, I will never.
What would you say was your final strike with him, where you said, "Listen, I'm not gonna deal with you anymore. Like, we can be social media friends, but I'm just not gonna deal with you." What was your final strike where you like, yeah, I'm done?
Oh, I think my final straw was the emotional manipulation and immaturity, and that comes in 101 different situations. Like, he could not take no. Like how a regular man would just be like, oh, no, I can't do that. He'll get angry, just angry. Like I've even showed Lance some of the text message threads where I'm like, no, I can't meet you today. No, I can't talk to you right now. Da, 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 da. And it's almost like I told his mom she was ugly and bald-headed. I said, oh my God. So
Like,
it was a lot of little.
would he curse you out behind that?
Oh, he would try to belittle me. Oh, for sure.
Ooh,
It was like, who
no.
do I think I am?
No.
How
No.
dare I say? How dare I say
No.
no to him? Because
Mm-mm.
I'm a human and he's a god. You have to understand the complex,
You sound like one of my
right? I'm
family
just
members. I know.
yeah, yeah. It's just like they like he's like you don't you and I can get ten of you? Well, get them, nigga. I gotta go. I got shit to do. Find the bitch. I ain't the one order to. Because I'm not impressed by that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I didn't even date you because of that. Because like I said, I don't even watch that. I do not watch football at all.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
I'm sorry
what
to
is that
cut
saying?
out, but I'm gonna have to holler at y'all later on.
Okay, no problem, KG. Take care now. Have a good one.
I will. All right, pineapple. All right, Miss D.
All right, Bon.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.
Well, let me say this as I'm kind of wrapping up. I remember, when I used to work at the airport, there was, of course, celebrities come in and out. I don't watch NBA anymore. I don't watch NFL. I remember I haven't watched NBA in like basically close to 10 years. I have old school favorite NBA players. And of course I would see them like, oh shoot, that's X, Y, and Z. I remember there was one guy, I don't know what team he plays for now, but I think he still plays in the NBA. But he was by himself bouncing the basketball. Now y'all know me, I'm very charismatic. Now I'm not media trained. This is just who I am. I'll go talk to a raccoon and go make friends with it. That's who I am. Okay. I have made friends with a raccoon too. Back to the story. So, so anyway, what ended up happening was he bounced the basketball, and I said, "Man, you don't know what you're doing with that rock?" I said, "Go ahead, pass it over here." He looked at me like, "She talking to me?" Like, just how exuberant I am. So he passed it to me, and I said, had a couple conversation words with him, and he told me, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the NBA," and I said, "Do you?" He said, "If you don't mind me asking, like, what's your name?" So he told me his name, and then I asked him if he was a book reader. He's like, "Well, I can." Oh, that's how he told me. I started talking to him first, and then I asked him if he was a book reader. And he said, "Well, yeah, I could give it to some of my teammates." I said, "Oh, are you play like for college?" Like, "No, I'm actually in the NBA." I said, "Are you okay with me asking you what your name is?" And then he told me his name, and I said, "Okay." And then I gave him some jokes, and he was stunned. Like, typically people, when I make these jokes, people look at me like how Pineapple just looked at me, and might laugh, might not, but he looked at me like, "Whoa, okay." Like, I don't know, maybe I was too much. Again, I wasn't fangirling over him. I didn't say, "Oh my gosh, like how much money do you?" I didn't do any of that. I was just having a regular conversation, and that was about it. He went on about his day, and I was confused because I'm like, I thought that they typically, or some, because what KG, there was a story that he told me one day about one of his daughters, NBA player came up into her store out here in Atlanta, and she didn't know he was in the NBA. What drew him to her was she didn't fangirl all over him. She treated him like he was just a regular person having a conversation with. Like, Pineapple, when you told me you was in the club and Travis Kelce was right next to you, and you just sitting there just having a regular conversation with him. You wasn't, "Oh my gosh, bro, I love you so much." And that's what made him want to talk to you.
I ain't know who the hell he was. Like
that too. That too, right? Like that's how it's supposed to be. That's why he chose her, and they did their thing. But I say all that to say, I thought me being a regular person towards this this individual, I thought that he, probably would have been like, "Bro, you cool? Like, let me share. I have my social media information on there. I thought he probably would have followed me or whatever else it may be." I will say there was another time it was a guy who was in the NBA, real tall dude. I don't know his name. Couldn't remember him if he walked past me. But he was laughing at all my jokes and stuff like that, but he didn't find me interested enough to want to, go out with me. Then it was another guy. He said, "I just retired from the NFL," but he only was in there for about 5 years, and he left me a nice tip. Oh, I used to love it when the NBA, NFL players used to come to my kiosk. They would leave nice tips. Rappers, I didn't want them showing up. So again, every single time I would come in contact with one, I don't watch the shows, but it was like, I was like thinking to myself, what am I not doing right? Right? Like, why can I not get this guy to want to ask me for my number? And I think, like I said, it was one of those things, Pineapple, you asked earlier. And like I said, I'm wrapping this all up. What was it about these particular individuals? Like, what is it about? Why not a regular 9 to 5? I think it's kind of like that lifestyle, that glamour. Just so I can check it off my bucket list. I dated a celebrity. That was pretty much about it, you know. And you know that's what I wanted. I wanted to go after people who really had money. Rappers don't have money unless you have investments, but the average rapper don't really have money. That's the label's money.
Like she said, though, it comes with the price.
Yeah, no, of course. I know that's what I said. I don't really care for that no more. That was at the time I wanted that. And like Aunt D said, Kyndra, you're gonna blow up one day. It's coming for you, and the rappers and whatever, they're gonna be the one at your door. Like, hey, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be like Mike Jones. Back then, you didn't want me, now I'm hot, you all on me. That's why I'm gonna keep singing. So that's it. But listen, thank you all so much for tuning into this great episode of Kyndra's Corner. I do appreciate you guys. Aunt D, thank you so much. Aunt D, driving, you know, you made it happen. And I know you're probably at your destination now and everything else like that. Pineapple, I appreciate you coming in and always giving your 2 cents, even though I know you came in and came out because of your booty Wi-Fi. But anyway, so it has been...
This is premium Wi-Fi over here. Somebody kept calling me, and I couldn't hear you no more.
Well, you should put your phone on Do Not Disturb. You should came prepared. All right,
Only weird people do that.
Anyway, so without that being said, listen, man, it's been great. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.